Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel and to my first video of 2023. It will take me a while to get used to saying that, I'm sure, as it will everybody else. So after a couple of weeks of full-on preparing large meals for family and family events, I thought it might be nice to just settle in and make something that's really simple, that's filling, and that's delicious, that you could have for either breakfast, dinner, or lunch. So let me gather up the ingredients and I will be right back after this. So I think I've gathered up everything that I need for this, and today I'm going to make a frittata. This is something that can be used for breakfast, for brunch, for lunch, for dinner. With lunch or dinner you could add a salad to the side of it, and it makes a really good and hearty meal. So I am making something very simple today, but it doesn't have to be simple. It can be complex. It can also use up leftovers. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we move along. I've set my oven to 400 degrees and I am going to get busy with this onion. But the first thing I'm going to do is grab a towel to put under this board, because quite a number of you have remarked that my countertop makes a lot of noise. So I'll try and be more mindful of that as we move forward. So I'm just going to clean up this onion, and we'll get that started in the frying pan. I hope that everyone had a really good holiday season, but if you're like me, you're holidayed out. It's time to start to bring things back to normal and to the quiet of our homes that we usually have. Sometimes that means your home is noisy, but it will be probably less busy. We enjoyed a wonderful trip away to visit our kids and grandkids, and thank you to everybody that was praying for our safe journeys. We had a really wonderful time. It's nice to see everybody, but it was also nice to get home to our own bed and to get things kind of back on track to face this week ahead of us. So I've used quite a bit of onion in here because I enjoy onion quite a bit, and this is going to go into the frying pan along with some mushrooms. But I'm going to start the onions in the frying pan, and then I'll bring you back, because I bought these sliced mushrooms, but because they were cheaper than buying whole mushrooms. But some of the pieces in here are too big, so I'm going to cut them down a little bit. So I will be right back after I've stuck this into the frying pan on the stove. Now in the frying pan I have about a tablespoon of butter and about a tablespoon of olive oil to get this started. Now one of the great things about a frittata, and maybe we should talk about the difference. So frittata, omelette, pretty much the same thing. The only difference might be crust. Yeah, or quiche. Quiche has a crust. Omelets, you stir it all in the pan. And frittata, you put everything, you cook everything in a single pan, but usually finish it off in the oven. It has no crust, so you can mix it right up till the last minute. Now a frittata, you can literally use any ingredients in the frittata. The thing that I'm doing right now is to sweat down the onions and the mushrooms so that they don't release too much water and make our frittata all soupy and wet. And you want to have about equal parts of whatever you're putting in. This could be leftover broccoli. You can use up leftovers in here. You could add bacon or ham. You could add chicken to this. They're just so versatile. And they're something that we sure enjoy. I like the fact that I can continue to stir after the cooking process has started. And I can still stir for a couple minutes, which when you stir the pan, it helps it to form kind of thick ribbons, and they will make a greater height. Where if you just take the pan and you put it in the oven, it all cooks at the same level, and you don't get the extra fluffy bits in there. So I have this mushroom all ready to go, and I'm just going to be waiting for a few minutes on the onions to bring them down a little. The interesting thing about cooking with mushrooms is that mushrooms are like a sponge, and if I put them in there too soon, they may release their water but soak up all the onion juice. So we don't necessarily want that to happen. Now, if you were making a fancy frittata, you'd want to use the flat leaf parsley. The curly leaf was what I could get my hands on the other day when I went into the grocery store. So for those of you that watch the grocery haul, you'll recognize that I have the eggs, the mushrooms, and the curly parsley from that grocery haul. And I will link it below. So if you haven't seen it and you're interested at all in seeing a grocery haul, you can go back there and have a look. Now, this little bit of green will be really helpful. And I can hear the onions starting over there, so I'm going to run and give them a stir, and then we'll start on the egg mixture. Now I'm going to let those onions come to, maybe I'll cook them around 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'll add the mushrooms and get them going as well. Saw one here at the last minute that looked a little too big. So in a bowl, I am going to whisk together 6 eggs. I'm also going to add to the eggs about 1/4 cup of heavy cream. You could use milk. I just feel like I don't need as much moisture in there because the onions and the mushrooms will give off quite a bit. I'm going to, if you had thyme, you could use fresh. I don't, so I'm using dried, a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme. I'm going to add a full salt and pepper to it at this time because I have not put any bacon or ham or prosciutto into this, and the eggs will need some seasoning. And here on a plate I've got some freshly ground Parmesan cheese that I just ground up just before I got started here. And I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons to the bowl. I'm going to get ready and I'm going to whisk these up, but back to the onions for a minute. Now, before I whisk, I'm going to put in about, I don't know, 2 tablespoons of parsley. And again, you can add as much or as little as you like, or add no parsley at all if that's your preference. And I'm going to give these, I'm going to whisk these pretty well. I don't mind if there's a little white that appears, but I don't want that to be too primary. So I think that's probably good. And I'm going to get rid of my whisk, and I'm going back to stir the mixture on the stove, and I'll take you over there so that you can see what that looks like. Now, you can see that there isn't much oil left in the pan. It's been absorbed by the onions and the mushrooms. And I'm not going to cook these an awful lot longer because they're still going to cook a little bit after I pour in the egg mixture and then finish it in the oven. These are smelling so good. It's nothing like the scent of caramelizing onions. Fills your home with happy thoughts. So now I am going to add the egg mixture in here. And I'm just going to move it around a little bit, just to add some volume to this. I'm going to make this frittata in this same dish. So it's a one pot or one pan dish. And I am going to keep moving around here for a minute till it's probably halfway set. And then I'll be ready to pop it in the oven. Look at that beautiful thing coming together, would you? Now, we're getting there. You can see that as I'm turning the frittata, we're seeing quite a bit of white. So now I'm going to settle it out. I'm just going to give the pan a scrape down. And I'm going to put this oven safe pan into my 400 degree Fahrenheit oven, and it'll probably take about 10 minutes to set it. You'll know when it's set because you'll be able to press on the top, and if there's no gooey bits, then it's set. So I'll bring you back when that has happened. So here I am, back with the frittata out of the oven. It is cooked all the way through because I know this because my finger bounces off the top and there's nothing wet or slimy on it, so it's cooked. And I will give you a close-up of this. Then I'm going to let it sit about 10 minutes, you know, to gather itself together before I cut into it. And then I'll cut it so that you can see what it looks like on the inside as well. So here, I'll be right back. Actually, before it cools off too much, I'm going to add the rest of my cheese to the top of it and the last of the parsley. Now, this is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. It's just beautiful. It's risen really nicely. You can see the vegetables, the onions and the mushrooms inside, and it smells delightful. This is my lunch today, and I am always happy to have something that I can make up pretty quickly and that fills me up. Just delicious. So you can use this dish for any meal. You could add vegetables to the side, or you could add a salad to the side for certain sure to round it off a little bit if that's what you wanted to do. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for watching my videos. For those of you that have subscribed, thank you very much. For those of you that haven't, please do. The subscription is important to me. It doesn't cost you one single penny, and it is meaningful to me because I receive a small amount of money from Google Sense ads for every time you watch my video, and it adds up to help me pay for the ingredients to continue to do this. So please subscribe, like, and share with your friends. And until next time, folks, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.